Imagine you are sitting in the branches of a massive, ancient tree. Now, imagine you could travel back in time, locate the exact seed that grew this tree, and crush it under your boot. If the seed is destroyed, the tree never grows. But if the tree never grows, how were you sitting in it to travel back in the first place? This is the logic of the grandfather paradox. A traveler journeys back and prevents their grandparents from meeting, stopping their parents' birth and, by extension, their own. Yet, without the traveler, there is no one to interfere. The grandparents meet and the traveler is born. In physics, causality acts as a non-negotiable rule. It dictates that a cause must always precede its effect. You push a glass off a table, and then it shatters. Time flows in one direction to keep the sequence of events logically intact. Backward time travel creates reverse causation. It introduces a loop where an effect turns around and eliminates its own origin point, causing the timeline to effectively consume itself. This logical impossibility represents a structural threat to the universe. If a single effect can undo its own cause, the mathematical foundations of reality dissolve. Despite this, theoretical physics does not explicitly forbid it. Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity reimagined space and time as a single, flexible fabric that bends and warps around mass and energy. Using Einstein's equations, mathematician Kurt Gödel discovered a loophole. He identified closed time-like curves, pathways through the fabric of spacetime that loop completely back onto themselves. These curves provide a mathematical blueprint for backward time travel. They prove that returning to your own past is a theoretical possibility permitted by the laws of physics. We are left with a contradiction. The math allows time travel, but time travel destroys causality. To find out how reality protects its own internal logic, physicists run the universe through a theoretical stress test. The first test centers on a model known as fixed spacetime, or block time. This model suggests that the past, the present, and the future exist simultaneously within a single, solid block of reality. Every event is locked permanently into position. If an event necessarily happened in a specific way in the past, it is physically impossible for a traveler to alter it. Modal logic dictates that you cannot change what is already a permanent feature of the block. In this reality, you cannot kill your grandfather because the timeline is fixed. Any action taken in the past was already part of the history leading to your birth. The second test uses the Novikov self-consistency principle, describing how type 2 closed time-like curves behave. This principle argues that the universe actively intervenes to protect causality. If you aim a weapon, the rifle jams. A passing car blocks your view. The universe manipulates physical events to ensure they remain logically consistent. Physicist Seth Lloyd designed a quantum simulation to test this behavior. He sent photons backward in time with a programmed instruction to terminate their previous selves. This chart shows the probability of the photon successfully completing its mission. As the photon approaches a state of reverse causation, the likelihood of success plummets to 0. The experiment fails before a paradox can occur. The math suggests that while you can travel to the past, the universe effectively strips you of your free will to prevent a logical collapse. The final test looks to quantum mechanics and Hugh Everett's many worlds interpretation. In this model, the moment a time traveler arrives in the past, reality splits. The traveler leaves their original timeline, World A, and materializes in a newly created distinct timeline, World B. This solves the paradox because the traveler only stops the grandfather in World B. Their original timeline in World A remains completely untouched. Causality is preserved because the traveler isn't altering their own past. They have moved into an entirely separate universe. The grandfather paradox remains one of the most controversial topics in physics because each potential solution carries a massive philosophical cost. Consider the Hitler paradox. If a traveler attempts to stop a historical atrocity and find themselves unable to change a single event, the inability to alter history takes on a profound ethical weight. To avoid the paradox using the first two models, one must accept that time is a frozen illusion, or that human free will is physically impossible. Relying on the third model requires accepting a reality where every interaction spawns infinite, unreachable parallel dimensions. Ultimately, the grandfather paradox acts as a mirror, exposing a version of reality that is far more alien and incomprehensible than our daily intuition suggests.